Plus, enjoy your favorite games from all over the world with 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating. Just head over to FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's in Atlantic City to get in on all the action this season. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell to learn more. Must be 21 or to play and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sports is what we do.
You're in your car, you're in your house, you're wherever you are. You're a sports fan.
97.3 ESPN.
Because if you weren't a sports fan, you wouldn't be listening.
WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Friday edition of Game Night, and the Flyers and Sixers both lost. Come on, man. 97.3 ESPN FM is where you heard the Sixers play a pitiful game of basketball last night. Our sister station, Rock 104.1, had the Flyers game, and the Flyers at least fought for most of that game, and then they just ran out of gas at the end. It's a good thing the Eagles are undefeated because I feel like for Philly fans, the Phillies went to the World Series, and we talked with Kevin Durso about this earlier this week. It's on the Philly teams, like the Sixers, like the Flyers, to regain the interest of this fan base. And last night, both of them did a horrible job at it. We'll get into more of the Sixers and Flyers in just a bit. Don't forget, still to come on the show, less than 20 minutes from now, Andy McNamara from Sportsnet will join us to talk about the NFL in general. We'll get his thoughts on the Eagles, the NFL, fantasy starts and sits. So, of course, you can send your text into 609-403-0973 on the text board. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of CIL. Also, about 50 minutes from now will be your next opportunity to qualify for 99 bottles, 2 qualifiers every hour, the 4 hours of the Sports Bash, 2 this hour on Game Night. So today will be the final day you can this week. We'll have one more round of qualifying next week, and that's it. So keep your phone handy if you want to qualify for 99 bottles. The party's being held this year at Maynard's in Margate. So we got football on tap. I'll give you some thoughts and picks before the end of the show. I got you guys loaded up here for a power hour here on Game Night on 97.3. I got to start with the Sixers and the Flyers because while both of them lost, they lost for completely different reasons. And, it's one of those things where, I don't wake up in the morning saying, I'm going to get on the microphone today and talk about the Sixers and Flyers losing. But it can't be avoided. So before we get to the Eagles stuff, we got to get the Sixers and Flyers business taken care of. And that is, Kevin Durso was on this show, our Flyers insider for 97.3 ESPN.com earlier this week. And he brought up an excellent point. He said, now that the Phillies World Series is done, now that things are ramping down from all that emotion, can the Flyers and the Sixers recapture the attention of the Philly fan base? And, there's nothing you can do about schedules, right? The Flyers and Sixers can't change their schedule one way or the other, based on when the Phillies are playing. Look, it's not their fault the city got to see an amazing underdog run for the Phillies to the postseason. But you have an opportunity now to try to capture the interest of these fans. And it feels like this week has been a bag of mixed results. And last night you saw 2 teams lose for 2 very different reasons. Last night you saw the Flyers lose because they ran out of gas at the end. They didn't have enough firepower. They were on the road. It's becoming very apparent that this team right now is just not a great road team. They're an adequate road team, not a great road team. So the Flyers last night, they were down 3-0. They fought back 3-2. They brought out the goalie to get the extra skater on the ice, and the Blues just outskated them the rest of the game, and that's how the Blues won 5-2. But 2 days earlier, the Flyers, with their backup goaltender, beat a struggling St. Louis Blues team handily. So the Flyers put the effort in, won one game decisively, lost another game where the score doesn't tell the whole story. Sixers are a very different boat because Monday, I argue, was one of the best games the Sixers have played the entire season. Embiid looked really good on Monday. The bench players had great contributions. They were very efficient offensively, and they took care of business against Phoenix. Last night, they looked like a team that was lost, dazed, and confused, and it was like they couldn't not turn the ball over in the first quarter. They had trouble making shots half the game. They had some horrible offensive possessions, and the body language of everyone looked horrible. And look, to be honest with you guys, for the people who sit there and say, fire Doc Rivers, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but Sam Cassell looked disinterested as well. Sam Cassell had a look on his face like, I don't want to be here either. Nobody wanted to be there last night. So, you can just, you look at these teams, and one team at least gave the effort. The other team looked like they just didn't want to be there. And I got a problem with that because the Flyers do not have the same amount of talent on the ice that the Sixers have on the court. But the Flyers are giving an honest effort. And the Sixers look like they're going through the motions. And now you have a Sixers team that's going to have a back-to-back at home this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And then they're off until Friday for a primetime matchup with that team in Milwaukee with Giannis. And by the way, Atlanta, pretty darn good basketball team. And I've only seen a couple games now of Trae Young and DeJounte Murray together, but they look electric. Utah Jazz are actually one of the best teams in the NBA this season so far. I mean, Lauri Markkanen looks like he's just on another level right now. So it's not going to be an easy weekend at home. And then you got Milwaukee on Friday. And then the very next day you got Minnesota. And a few days later you got Tuesday against who? Ben Simmons, the Nets. The Sixers have got to wake up. And they could take some lessons from the Flyers. The Flyers went out there and showed you that it doesn't matter if you have all the talent in the world. If you put together an honest effort, and if your best player gives you everything he's got, you can win more games than you lose. The Flyers right now are 7-4-2 without their captain, Sean Couturier, without one of their better scorers, JVR, without arguably one of their slickest scorers, Cam Atkinson. Ryan Ellis, who knows when he's coming back. Ristolainen is playing like a stiff. The only guy who they signed this offseason who's looked really good is D'Angelo. So, frankly, you could argue that the Flyers with less are giving you more. And it's going to be a sad state of affairs that if we get to Thanksgiving, when Mike Gill is at Maynard's in Margate on November 23rd, if the Flyers still have a better winning percentage than the Sixers, whether I agree with it or not, those cries to fire Doc Rivers are going to get a lot louder. And Daryl Morey's got to make a decision about this basketball team. Of course, you can hear Flyers tomorrow at 1 p.m. as they take on the Ottawa Senators. Claude Giroux's return to Philadelphia. Sixers at 7:30 tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN as they are taking on the Hawks again. And don't forget, in between, we will have Ole Miss versus Alabama, part of our sports triple header tomorrow afternoon here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, college football, NFL prime time, and more here in South Jersey. Of course, the text board is open, 609-403-0973. You can DM the show through 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. We want to get to the Eagles because this conversation that's being had about are the Eagles legitimate, okay? Are they really the best team in their conference? And, I think what gets lost in translation about all of these Hurts versus Dak and all these different things is, and I'm being fair with you guys, I think it's all out of proportion. I think it's all horse manure because the reality is that whether you like or dislike Jalen Hurts, okay, the team around him is really talented. Arguably the best offensive line in the NFL. At worst, one of the 5 best trios of wide receivers in the NFL, if not one of the 3 best. They have a top 5 talent in tight end in Dallas Goedert. Miles Sanders is definitely, you could argue, in the top 20 running backs in terms of ability and versatility in the NFL. The defense is playing at a high level, and adding Robert Quinn is only going to make them more dangerous. I've heard some people say that this might be the best secondary in the NFL. All of those things pieced together have put the Eagles to 8-0. And there's this narrative out there, well, you beat Kirk Cousins in primetime. He's not good in primetime games. And you beat Cooper Rush. Or, you have a soft schedule and all these things. The reality is that, first of all, if the Eagles have a soft schedule, everyone in the NFC has a soft schedule. Because the NFC is not elite right now. The 2 best quarterbacks in the league heading into this year are both playing on teams that are injured and pitiful offensively. The reigning Super Bowl champs lose one guy on their offensive line, and they can't block anybody. The 49ers are still rebounding from injuries earlier this year. The Seahawks are playing with house money right now. The Giants have come out of the gates firing because they actually have competent coaches and real football people on the sidelines instead of the jokers they've had over the years. The Cowboys have one of the 3 best defenses in the NFL, but they allowed a bunch of points to both the Bears and the Eagles. One team in the Bears is not very good, and one team in the Eagles that actually is pretty good. So what you make of Dallas? Who knows? Maybe they just had a bad Sunday here or there. But we're going to find out when these teams get further down the stretch. As we progress, the Vikings keep winning games. But are they winning games because of their schedule, or are they winning games because they're good, or are they winning games because Kevin O'Connell changed the culture? So yeah, the NFC is down. So if the Eagles are a quote-unquote not great 8-0 team, then everyone in the NFC has to be labeled that way. It can't be one or the other. All right, so still to come, we got Andy McNamara. He joins us each week to talk NFL and college football. I'll get you some college football and NFL picks for the weekend before the end of the show. And as always, you can join the conversation. 609-403-0973 is the text board. And you can DM the show through 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 973 ESPN.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2022 season Monday night against their NFC East rivals, the Commanders.
Quick pitch to Sanders, and he is in for the touchdown, and the Eagles regain the lead.
Pre-game coverage starts at 7 p.m. with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 8:15. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagles station.
Matt Blatt Mitsubishi in Glassboro, offering you huge discounts. Now you can get a great deal on a brand new Mitsubishi. Online at mattblatt.com.
At my age, I never dreamed I'd be dealing with opioid addiction.
I was pregnant and I couldn't stop. Getting sidelined by an injury was bad, but the cravings were way worse.
Then I heard about 844-REACH-NJ.
They connected me to treatment and I had a healthy baby. 844-REACH-NJ was the call that made the difference.
Thank goodness I made the call.
So glad I made the call for both of us.
REACH-NJ. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, call 844-REACH-NJ from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Hey, sports bettors, it's JR, the #1 documented source at wagerpro.com. Folks, you've heard my ads every week since week 1. And today, for week 10, I have an offer you simply can't refuse. Text Philadelphia, Washington to 800-499-3733. That's right. Text the matchup Philadelphia, Washington to 800-499-3733 to receive the winner instantly, free of charge. I've uncovered a 10-point mistake on this spread. Get my expert opinion now, absolutely free. Text Philadelphia, Washington to 800-499-3733. That's 800-499-3733. The point spread information I've been able to track down is so strong, I'm labeling Philadelphia, Washington my VIP game of the week. Text now, Philadelphia, Washington to 800-499-3733. That's 800-499-3733 and visit wagerpro.com.
Doug. Hey, listener. Welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
With approved GMF financing. Excludes Corvette. See dealer for details.
When we say nobody beats Bennett, we mean it. Because while most dealers are charging thousands over sticker, Bennett is selling most new models at GM supplier employee pricing. Yes! During Black Friday, you pay what our supplier employees pay, not a penny more. While other dealers are still charging way over sticker, Bennett is still saving you thousands with GM supplier employee pricing during our Black Friday event. You'll save even more with rates as low as 2.99%. Yes, 2.99%. Looking for pre-owned? Bennett's got them. And we're paying an unbelievable $7,000 for the worst clunkers on the planet towards any pre-owned in stock. No joke. That's a guaranteed $7,000 for total junk. Just imagine how much we'll pay for a good trade. Bennett Chevrolet, where our sales team is paid not on how much you spend, but how satisfied you are. Imagine that. It's true. And that's why we say there's no beating Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Black Friday deals. Black Friday deals. The gifts are unreal.
Shop Black Friday deals at JCPenney. This weekend, get 1 to 2 carat total weight diamond rings, studs, or bracelets in 10 or 14 karat gold, now $899.99. Home Expression Soft Touch Twin Sheet Sets, $699. And Champion Activewear for the family, 40% off. We got your holiday.
Black Friday deals. Shop, shop. JCPenney.
Offers valid on select items 11/11 through 11/13. Excluded from coupons. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Football season is in full swing at Vandal Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Bet, watch, and win all season long. Plus, enjoy your favorite games from all over the world with 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating. Just head over to FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's in Atlantic City to get in on all the action this season. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell to learn more. Must be 21 or to play and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Let's get back into the NFL as it feels like every week right now the Chargers have at least one guy ruled out. I got to wonder out there, you join us every Friday to talk football. My favorite Canadian, Andy McNamara, joins us. And I got to ask Andy, because I know he's a Browns fan, so he knows a little something about, teams who have, maybe not apparent curses, but like pseudo curses on them. Is it possible, Andy, that the former San Diego, now Los Angeles Chargers are just a cursed franchise and the Spanoses just need to sell the team to break this curse?
Well, it's certainly cursed by not having a passionate fan base, Josh, right? Like, does anybody...
Fan base?
Yeah, I know. Remember they were in that soccer stadium and it was like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, I remember that soccer stadium in 2017 and the Eagle fans filled it.
Exactly. It's a good, you know what? There's some cities that are nice to go to if you are an opposing team. Carolina, Jacksonville, the LA Chargers, wherever because the fans don't really care and you won't get stabbed, which is always a plus. So that's probably a good spot. But you're right. There's something about this team, and this season there's especially something about Keenan Allen's hamstring that is ridiculous. He is ruled out yet again. Disaster if you drafted this guy and we're depending on him for your fantasy team.
I mean, I understand that you've been on the Josh Palmer train since day one, but it's getting to the point with the Chargers where I don't even know if him and Eckler are enough for them to. I mean, they barely beat the Falcons, for goodness sake, and we just saw the Falcons and the Panthers struggle to get to 40 points last night.
No, you're right. You're right, and look, at this stage, Josh Palmer is, he's still available. I'm just looking now. He's still available in about 24% of leagues. So, you could do worse on buys and streamers. But the upside of him is clearly capped. He's kind of a mid-teens fantasy receiver, which is fine if you got him, but it's not the production you're hoping out of Keenan Allen. And that's really, it's him and Eckler, and that's about it. And you're right, Josh. Like, is that enough for them to do what they want to do? And by the way, what is now has to be looked at as the most overhyped division ever in the AFC West. Remember coming in, it was like, oh man, must see. And I was the same way. Must see TV.
We all were. Everyone was.
It's terrible. It's terrible now. It's no good.
Who has lost more fantasy value in your eyes this year? Is it Justin Herbert or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers, 100%. I could feel comfortable that Justin Herbert could pop back this week, for example. But he's still young. He's still technically growing, and he's got all the talent in the world. Aaron Rodgers now coming back off a 2-time MVP. It just looks like just sort of similar to Tom Brady. Like Father Time just smacked him. Like you lose Devontae Adams, and it's that bad? Like it's that bad. And you can't figure it out, and you're attacking your teammates. There's really, I'm in one of my leagues is a 2-quarterback league. I'm benching Aaron Rodgers this week, and Andy Dalton is playing in his place. Can you believe that? Is that gross?
I don't know if I would have the guts to do that. I got to be honest. I mean, I got the guts. That's a little extreme even for me.
Got the guy. Listen. You got to get
Daniel Jones on the waiver wire. I'd go with Daniel Jones over Andy Dalton.
Well, Josh, in that league, Daniel Jones is my other quarterback. Funny enough. So that was the best of the rest. I had the same thinking. But I'm like, look, Aaron Rodgers is not getting you. He's not reaching 15 fantasy points. He's not reaching 15.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Like, it's just a terrible, terrible outcome. And we're seeing 2 future Hall of Famers in him and Tom Brady. And by the way, people are like, oh, Brady with the comeback against the Rams. 16-13. Settle down. 16-13 against the Rams. And the Rams suck. So big whoop. Let's see what you do in Germany against the Seahawks, who are pretty good.
Games on NFL Network for those out there wondering. Not ESPN Plus again this time. That was a one-off apparently. From what I understand.
Okay.
So NFL Network this Sunday morning from Munich. My pushback on the Brady Rodgers thing is this though, Andy. If you put Rodgers or Brady on the Eagles right now, I think they would look a lot better because guess what? That Tampa and Green Bay don't have that the Eagles do have a healthy, good offensive line.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't know if Brady and Rodgers can function anymore unless they have a good offensive line. I think that's the biggest part of the Father Time thing while LeBron's playing battle ropes against Father Time in those commercials. I think what Father Time did to Brady and Rodgers, instead of competing with them, he just stripped their offensive lines and said, good luck, boys.
Right, and that's the fault of the organization. Now, injuries have something to do with, injuries come up and all that, but
right,
if you're an organization and you have those two talents with a finite remaining time left in the league and at a high level, you have to have double, triple checks backfilled and keep them safe, especially Brady. Rodgers at least can be a little mobile, right? Brady's, he'll do the phone booth shuffle to get away from stuff, but he's not running anywhere.
No.
So the fact that you're
Definitely
not doing that, the fact that you're not preparing and being able to do that is just a mark on the organization. I think it reveals once again for the Packers just how undeserving they are of having that long of quarterback bliss in Favre and then Rodgers and squandering it with only 2 Super Bowls. Like really, that's multiple missed opportunities.
Andy McNamara joining us here on Game Night, talking NFL and fantasy football here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Let's get to some other guys we need to talk about. You mentioned Andy Dalton, so let's get into the Saints offense because I know a lot of people right now are probably losing their minds because it feels like with Michael Thomas done for the year, Mark Ingram is not playing again. Great. Another backup running back in New Orleans is unavailable. The good news is Landry's playing. But is it really good news? He's been a disappointment this year. Literally that Saints offense has been Chris Olave or bust.
Yeah.
So it's like you're saying you're starting Andy Dalton. So talk to the audience about the Saints offense because you said people are on buys this week. There's a lot of hard choices that have to be made by people who maybe are at 500, one game under 500 in their fantasy leagues.
Yeah, and a part of that Andy Dalton reasoning is not just the buys, Josh, but also you're playing the Steelers, who've given up the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. Steelers are nothing to be scared of. So when I'm looking at that matchup, Andy Dalton, and look, I'm not saying Andy Dalton's going to be getting you 30 points. However, 3 weeks ago, he did get you 30 fantasy points. Chris Olave is the man. He is simply the man. And Andy Dalton is a good enough distributor of the football to Olave, Kamara, Landry, while not fantasy relevant himself, real life wise, when healthy, can still move the chains somewhat, be a possession guy. So Andy Dalton has the tools to do that type of distribution against a team he's very familiar with. It's still Mike Tomlin from when he was with the Bengals, right? It's a different type of, but he's still familiar with the opponent. So that's why when you're looking at that Saints team, it's Kamara, it's Olave, and really that's it. And if you're super stuck, then you go with Andy Dalton. I would prefer a Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd also now, Josh, let me get your take on this one. A guy I am targeting this week for DFS contests, Trevor Lawrence. Okay, here's the reason why. You're playing the Chiefs. 9.5 point favorites is Kansas City. What are the Jacksonville Jaguars known for, Josh? They're known for playing in London, and they're known for garbage time fantasy quarterback points. That's what they're known for. The specter of the great Blake Bortles, who would have 3 fantasy points going into the 4th quarter and then finish with 25 somehow. I think Trevor Lawrence is in a prime position to get you garbage fantasy points this week against the Chiefs because they're going to have to throw it. They're going to have to throw it a lot. They're going to get down. I think, again, a streamer, it's gutsy. But I think there's a real upside for Trevor Lawrence to be a good fantasy play this week.
I think that Lawrence right now has value in part because Etienne is playing well.
Yeah,
and you got to assume at some point an opposing team is going to game plan for Travis Etienne and say, we're going to stop Etienne, and then Lawrence is going to have more passing opportunities. So that would be my working theory, because at some point, teams can't guard everybody. And there have been times that Christian Kirk has looked really good in his connection with Lawrence.
Sure. And the trouble is, and I think they'll probably, this was a step one under Doug Peterson, right? You have to deprogram from Urban Meyer and all that. They don't have any game changers. They have good possession receivers. Christian Kirk might be a little bit more than that, but they have good, but there's nobody who's going, they don't have a Chris Olave. They don't have a Garrett Wilson. They don't have a guy, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, even, they don't have a guy that can just go like, okay, this dude's taking over. You got a lot of possession guys. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones. That's your receiving core. Evan Ingram at tight end. Like, really, when you look at it, what are we to expect out of Trevor Lawrence? Put up 400-yard passing games with that crew of receiving options? I don't think so. But that's sort of the step one. It's a stabilizing good force that can move the ball, but you're not going to have, if you're down, you're not going to have that guy who can take over a game, or at least potentially do that with Trevor Lawrence. So I don't fully blame him. I just hope, just from the star power, because it's more fun when you have more star quarterbacks in the league, that the last quarter of this season, we see him really starting to progress. And next year, it's like, okay, the Urban Meyer stink is completely off. Go draft a really good young wideout and go from there.
What are your thoughts on the Lions running back situation?
DeAndre Swift, I believe, does not have an injury designation.
That is correct.
Going in. So that is good. That is definitely good news. Jamal Williams has been really, fantasy-wise, like, I don't know what award you'd give him, but like kind of a, I don't know, just like he's just been that guy who's been able to be relevant when Swift is in, and especially when he's out. And he's been a guy that you can put in a flex. You can put in an RB2. Like, you look at the numbers, right? Like, they're really good. Now, he's had a couple of single-digit ones bookending the bye. But overall, the guy's put up, like, I'm just looking, 3 20-plus fantasy point days. It's really good. I would play DeAndre Swift with confidence, because when he's in there, guy's a stud. And I think you can still play Jamal Williams as a flex this week. You got Josh Reynolds is out. That's okay. Amon St. Brown, main dude. Brock Wright, you got rid of Hawkinson. You're not doing anything with the tight end. So I still think, like I said last week, maybe Khalif Raymond can be a DFS play that at least has potential to take that number 2 receiver role.
Chiefs running back situation. Go.
Yeah, not interested. Like, yeah, not interested, man. This is not interested. It's the same. It's like Buffalo.
A Facebook status. It's like relationship, not interested.
Not interested. Complicated. I don't even know if it's complicated with Kansas City. They just don't use it properly.
Yeah.
Right? Like Pacheco, okay. Clyde Edwards-Helaire still there. McKinnon's questionable. Ronald Jones, he doesn't do anything. This is a throw for it. You're throwing the football more. Now, McCole Hardman is out this week. Does that force them to throw to the running back more? Probably not. They like Pacheco because he can pass protect. That's why they like Pacheco. Okay, he's on the field. Maybe you could flukily do one, but it sucks. And you look at the Buffalo Bills, same type of sort of situation. Pass first, and the running game is an afterthought. Fantasy-wise, both teams, really non-factors when it comes to your fantasy. I really don't want either one on, even as like a stash at this point, Josh. It's like, why? You're just guessing. You're guessing and you're hoping you hit on the week. But if you guess, you're probably going to lose.
What do we do with the Bears offense right now? Because last week, Darnell Mooney had an amazing game, but you could argue it was because Claypool was a decoy for the week, right?
Yeah.
So, is Mooney a guy you keep playing? Is Poole a guy you hang on to, hoping he comes around? Maybe you drop him in your flex. Are you saying the Bears are just a don't trust it situation? What do you do with the Bears? Because there's only one guy in a Bears uniform you can trust, in fantasy football, and that's Justin Fields right now.
It's Justin Fields. First of all, Justin Fields, what a nice, steady arc. We talked about it last week, right? And we keep seeing that improvement. I love it. I love it because he was written off. And now he is coming back and he is showing, okay, now you can trust me to a certain degree. What else can you do? Mooney's always been so up and down. I like that he popped last week, but you're correct, Josh. It's like, okay, Chase Claypool, you didn't trade for him for nothing. I did like, though, did you see like warm-ups? They have like the account NFL memes or something. It's like Claypool ready to take over. First pass in practice, drop. So good. Off his fingers, like, oh, that's not good. That's not good for business. But, you play a Lions team. They've given up the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. So I still think we're in a wait and see when it comes to how Claypool is integrated. Is he fully going to be used? If he is, does he have chemistry? So I would err this week on the Darnell Mooney side. Now, again, DFS, you can take some shots. Put Claypool in, why not? But I would not want to risk Chase Claypool without seeing it done. I want to err on, oh man, Claypool had a great week. Too bad he wasn't in my lineup, rather than put him in and he gets you 4 points.
Another offense people have concerns about is the Rams.
Oh, man.
Cooper Kupp, not 100%. It's starting to look like Stafford won't play this week. And I have no idea if it's a good or bad thing, honestly, at this point. I mean, that's how messy the Rams have been. Their running back situation is a dumpster fire. And Allen Robinson is one of the top 5 busts in fantasy football this year. So if you are a fantasy person, what do you do with the Rams?
I find the Allen Robinson situation very interesting because it was always, he never had the quarterback. And well, this year, Stafford hasn't been good, so maybe he still doesn't have the quarterback. But it just seems like at some point it's not you, it's me. Okay, it might be a little bit of you, Allen Robinson. The running backs we want nothing of. And as bad as Matthew Stafford has played, Josh, next man up is John Wolford.
Yes,
Johnny Wolford. Whoo, boy. I think if Cooper Kupp's on the field, you play Cooper Kupp. The running backs are just like Cam Akers is just exiled. He'll be somewhere else next year, and then we'll have to reassess and say who knows. Darrell Henderson's just, he's barely playable because of bye weeks. Like, you probably have to have him in, but what's he going to get you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Allen Robinson, I want nothing to do with. I like the idea of Van Jefferson. I have been a big Van Jefferson fan over the last couple years, but he's still working his way back. So there is a spot for Van Jefferson to be fantasy relevant. The question again is, okay, is it if it's Walford? Come on, we can't be dealing with that situation. And then you got Higbee, who again is just part of the tight end nightmare in fantasy, where he's getting you, if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's getting you nothing. So yeah, like outside of Cooper Kupp for sure, like I don't really want to have to play any of them. It's that bad.
Another offense I got to ask you about, and we can't avoid it. It's the Jeff Saturday team, the Colts, because there's an outside chance Jonathan Taylor plays this week. I believe he's questionable right now. It's the last thing I saw, right? So
I have him cleared. I've seen he is in.
He's in. Okay, well then he's in.
As far as I hear.
Well, yeah. Jonathan Taylor is a first-round pick in almost every draft, right?
Yeah.
So, but the offense is an absolute mess. And now you got some green kid who has never called plays in the NFL. He was like with the assistant passing game coordinator. Yes. He's going to call the plays like somewhere. Ooh. Vince Lombardi is rolling over in his grave right now. Like this could get real ugly real fast, man.
Irsay is a madman, and I love it. He's crazy. Like he's crazy, and he doesn't care. It's got to be a very thinly veiled tank job, or he's insane. Or both. Because really, like, look at the Colts' luck. What's coming up, Josh? Another great quarterback draft class. Not last year, this year. Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, player to TBD. So maybe he's like, the Saturday hiring is a debacle. You can't blame Jeff Saturday, who's not going to take the job, right? Come on. But like, yeah, well, you got a passing game? It really makes a farce of the league in this sense. And by the way, you got Sam Ehlinger. What the heck is Sam Ehlinger supposed to do? Sam Ehlinger,
Run for his life.
Yes, but you know what, Josh? Half part of me thought maybe he'll be able to do run and get you 15 fantasy points. The guy hasn't cracked 8. This is the only interesting thing on the Colts. If there's a prop play you can bet on team like rushing attempts, Saturday's an offensive lineman. O-line love to rush the football. I think Jonathan Taylor just gets all the carries and is to a fault, and they just try to run the ball. So it could be a great fantasy day for Jonathan Taylor, despite the bad offensive line. But this is now must-see TV in a car crash type of scenario. What is this going to look like against the Raiders? It's bizarre.
I mean, we were joking earlier this week that, with Matt Ryan and Nick Foles are both quarterbacks on that roster, that one of them should be the play caller.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Or, play in the game because Sam Ehlinger ain't it. He's not it. Sorry, he's not.
I mean, poor Nick Foles. I mean, he goes there because Frank Reich's there. Frank Reich gets fired. He's still sitting there. The trade deadline is coming on. They can't even trade him to somewhere to be a backup quarterback.
Put in Nick Foles. Just put him in. Who cares? Do you really need to see what you have as Sam Ehlinger? Come on. XFL's calling, pal. It's done.
I mean, my theory was, listen, I know Matt Ryan's coming off an injury. Let him be the play caller. Start Nick Foles. And let them run the offense. Because you know what? You can't do any worse, Andy.
No, and the quarterbacks are in the game. And I'm totally down with that. That's a great idea. But no, they'll go with the guy who's an intern last year. It's if it wasn't, it's half hilarious and half depressing. It's this is the NFL. This isn't like a D3 college or high school. Josh, where I'm from, in high school, you're lucky if the parents stayed to watch the game, and you had a math teacher who played soccer calling the plays. Okay, this is Pickering, Ontario football here. This is supposed to be the NFL. Go Dumbarton Spartans.
At Andy MC81 on Twitter is where you give him a follow. Andy, I know you got a million projects going on, so before I let you go, plug everything.
Woo!
Let it loose.
Oh, well, I'm wearing my AEW shirt for those watching on the stream. And Josh,
yes, you are.
This Tuesday, I just recorded an interview with AEW superstar, TNT champion Wardlow. Any of you who are wrestling fans know who this guy is. He's the future world champ. Half-hour conversation, Josh. It was fascinating. He was super nice. And it was just such a different type of interview and conversation. We talked football. He grew up super poor, and now he's elevated. It was a great interview. So that's going to come out Tuesday. But later on tonight, fantasy football picks, betting picks. Jake Seeley from The Athletic joins me as well. And we talk about all the week's games coming up. That's going to be later tonight at AndyMC81 and at Sick Pod Browns on Twitter. And Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m., the ultimate fantasy football show. That's going to be on over 200 platforms, Fired Up Network, and that's where we go through, again, the injuries coming in. What changes are there? What are the betting lines? Does anything jump out? And, of course, your fantasy football starts. It's hashtag Ask Andy on Twitter and Instagram.
At AndyMC81 on Twitter is where you give him a follow. Andy, my friend, enjoy the weekend. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
And our fantasy football conversation with Andy McNamara being brought to you by my friends over at Jenkins & Sons. We need to make the 97.3 ESPN studio comfortable. That's who we called, and you should too. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all. For new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing, and drain cleaning services. Call 609-641-6262. Visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. Football weekend coming up. We'll get you my thoughts on the football weekend next here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Here's Maxey with a step-back three on drive to come again. Maxey filling it up.
It's Sixers Hawks tomorrow. Coverage begins at 7:30. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
Dreaming of an island escape? Mega Millions is now over 189 million. Take a shot at the jackpot and give yourself the chance to wake up in paradise every day for life. Anything can happen in Jersey.
Hey, Birds fans, it's about that time. Football season is back, and Boardwalk Honda is giving you the chance to score big. Stop in and take advantage of game-changing savings all month long. Shop our lineup of new pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have something for everyone, and credit problems are no problem with over 25 financial lenders to get you approved and on the road to victory. Visit us in Egg Harbor Township or online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
It's Pro Time, which means at Lowe's, you're invited to enjoy a Lowe's Pro Happy Hour. Kick back with free Pepsi Cola drinks and Frito-Lay snacks. Plus, earn 3 times bonus points per dollar on purchases of select Pepsi products. Come into Lowe's and get the full MVP treatment at Pro Happy Hour on November 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. While supplies last. Bonus points offer valid 10/27 through 12/8. Calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. See Lowes.com/L/pro loyalty terms.
Is chronic heartburn making you hear this in your sleep and after you wake up, after your first sip of coffee, and after every meal? Well, every time you hear it, it should remind you to talk to Atlanticare, because we can find the underlying issue that's causing your heartburn and acid reflux and create a personalized plan to treat it and provide lasting relief, so you don't have to keep doing this every time you lie horizontally, and when you drink too much water, or when you don't drink enough water. It's time to shake chronic heartburn for good and start taking on the real reason you're getting heartburn. Visit atlanticare.org/heartburn. atlanticare.org/heartburn.
Doug.
Hey, listener. Welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Black Friday deals. The gifts are unreal. Shop Black Friday deals at JCPenney. This weekend, get 1 to 2 carat total weight diamond rings, studs, or bracelets in 10 or 14 karat gold, now $899.99. Home Expressions Soft Touch Twin Sheet Sets, $699. And Champion Activewear for the family, 40% off. We got your holiday.
Black Friday deals. Shop, JCPenney.
Offers valid on select items 11/11 through 11/13. Excluded from coupons. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Don't let time pass you by. Door-busting Black Friday sales are going on now and all month at Matt Blatt Mitsubishi. Matt Blatt Mitsubishi wants your trade, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Blatt Mitsubishi wants to get you released, and you'll get more for your trade when you purchase any select new 2022 Mitsubishi SUV, plus every new Mitsubishi Outlander SUV. Put 0 down and pay only 1.9% APR financing for 36 months. Worried that your credit will keep you from getting a new ride? Matt Blatt Mitsubishi knows bad things happen to good people. We finance your future, not your past, even if your credit is less than perfect. So if you have a job clearing $350 per week, simply Matt Blatt Mitsubishi. Unapproved with Tier 1 credit, rebates and incentives to dealer. Go to mattblattmitsubishi.com for complete details. Plus tax, license, registration fees. Offers can't be combined. Expires 12/4/22. So come in today and get your deal your way. Located right in the heart of Glassboro for over 30 years.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, Josh Hennig here to tell you about how Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has helped your favorite football team. Did you know that over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated seat that football players sit on today? Yes, the Jenkins family created a way for football players to weather the extreme cold. Now imagine what Jenkins could do for your home. Call Jenkins for plumbing, drain cleaning, and leak repairs, gas furnace, boiler, and hot water heater replacements. Call Jenkins today at 609-641-6262, online at jenkinsandsons.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, before we get to my thoughts on the football weekend, just want to remind you about this weekend on 97.3 ESPN. No games tonight, at least in the Philly sports world. College basketball is on tonight. I wonder how many people who are not named Mike Gillum out there are watching college basketball tonight. But on 97.3 ESPN FM this weekend, of course, you have the locker room with Billy Schweim. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I'll be in here with the Schweim brothers from 10 a.m. to noon. Flyers hockey at 1 p.m., followed by Alabama at Ole Miss. That'll be followed by Sixers basketball at 7:30. Sixers take on the Hawks. Sunday here on 97.3 ESPN FM. We got for you Minnesota versus Buffalo, followed by Cowboys and Packers. And then Sunday Night Football is the Chargers and the 49ers. So not one, but two triple header days this weekend. Sixers, Flyers, college football tomorrow, NFL all day Sunday, all here on 97.3 ESPN FM. And on Sunday, if you're looking for the Flyers and Sixers games, just flip the channel over to our sister station, Rock 104.1 and the Rock 104.1 app. Before I get out of here, I'll give you some of my rapid fire thoughts on college football and the NFL. And of course, this conversation being brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook. Bet, watch, and win all football season, basketball season, and hockey season. And then the World Cup coming up. Enjoy your favorite games with 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating inside the FanDuel Sportsbook off the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Yes, Bally's has FanDuel Sportsbook, and you should head over there to get in on all the action this season. FanDuel wants everybody's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell. Learn more. Must go or to play and present in New Jersey to bet online. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And all of our odds and numbers and lines that I use are from FanDuel Sportsbook because they are the sponsor of this show. All right, let's get to some of the things I'm looking at. So, again, these are recommendations. These are not, illicit invitations for you to bet or gamble. So please keep that in mind. So here's what I'm looking at. College football tomorrow, Purdue and Illinois. I have zero faith in Purdue as a football team at this point, and I think Illinois got pretty much the inside track to try to win the Big Ten West right now. So I like the under 44.5 in that game. It's probably going to be a rock fight. Oklahoma is an 8.5-point favorite at West Virginia. And the last time I checked, Oklahoma is not a good football team, and West Virginia is not that bad to be a home dog. 8.5 is too much. Give me the 8.5. Notre Dame at Navy. This is an amazing opportunity for a letdown game. Notre Dame has been flying high since beating Clemson, right? Big upset win. They got to go to Navy. I can't decide right now between the 40.5 and the plus 17. I like the plus 17 because I can see Navy, slowing down this game to basically a standstill. But I also like the under 40.5 because they both have actually solid defenses. So something about that game. The game that I don't understand at all. The fact that Ole Miss is a plus 12 underdog at home against Alabama. Over the years, Lane Kiffin has covered the spread multiple times against Alabama. One of them was a few years ago. I gave the pick out on the radio. Ole Miss was like a 23, 24-point underdog. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Well, they lost the game by 17, 18 points. Well, guess what? That means they covered. So I don't know how this game is going to be, more than 10 points for Alabama to win. South Carolina plus 8.5 at Florida. I think Florida is just completely overrated right now. Washington plus 13 at Oregon. I think Washington is a better football team than being 13 points. And all of their losses, 2 of them this year, 8 points, 3 points. I like the plus 13. TCU plus 7.5 at Texas. I think that game will be more competitive. That probably a field goal difference. Giants versus Texans on Sunday. Give me the under 41.5. Lions versus Bears. Give me the over 48.5. Broncos versus Titans. Give me the under 38.5. And I have no idea why I'm saying this. I have no idea why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. But I got to be honest with you guys. I really like, and I mean really like, the idea of the Cardinals beating the Rams this weekend. All right, Josh Hennig hanging out with you here. Game night 97.3 ESPN FM 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Your chance right now for 99 bottles. 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. Callers 6 and 7. You are in for 99 bottles. Sports Bash broadcasting live from Maynard's and Margate day before Thanksgiving. And you have a chance to be there and win some great prizes. Eagles, Sixers tickets, Flyers tickets, concert tickets, and more. But you got to be caller 6 and 7 at 609-573-3776. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. I'll get you tomorrow in the locker room with Billy Schwein here on 97.3 ESPN.